Welcome to Five-A-Side on beIN Sports. This week we're talking about French football, African players playing in France, African players playing around the world, and football in general. Starting off with a conversation about Le Classique happening this weekend. Marseille versus PSG. Predictions, players to watch. Who are we excited to see?
Excited to see Tim Weah, for sure, the son of George Upon Weah, one Liberian footballer with a Ghanaian name.
That's a fact.
You know what I'm saying? That already had such a strong, input and a strong, presence in the Classique. So that's my player to watch. He obviously scored today, at the Bernabéu. First American to do so.
Yep.
Ever?
In the Champions League.
Oh, I'm about to say
Yeah, the Champions League.
Listen, sit on that. What do you guys have to say about that?
The historic moment? Yeah, I mean, it's huge, and it's so big also being in a World Cup year, and the fact that he's new to Marseille, and this is such an opportunity for him to also revive his career and be an out-and-out starter, also in his preferred position. So I think this move to Marseille is going to be huge for what he'll be able to do for the U.S. men's national team. Yeah.
Le Classique?
For Le Classique, I'm going with Paris. I think Paris will probably win by at least 2 goals, if I'm going to be honest. And I think what they're going to really be able to exploit is the way that Marseille plays out of the back, knowing how clinical Paris is, how they've had Marseille's number for so long recently, and them obviously sitting on top, coming off of the treble. I think Paris will be able to capitalize on those key mistakes that I think Marseille is going to make. So I'll give Paris a 3-1 away win.
For me, I think Marseille is actually going to capitalize on the home advantage and the whole underdog story that they're coming in for this one. I think the fact that they're able to hold off Real Madrid from any goals during the regular passes of play is a huge testament to their defense. And I think also PSG will struggle with Marseille's wingbacks, Pavard and Emerson, and then even Højbjerg in the middle. Everybody likes to talk about their attacking front, but they're also very strong in the back, and a lot of those players can be strong defensively and get forward. So I think they're going to cause an upset this weekend.
I have a soft spot for Marseille, but unfortunately I think PSG is going to take this one. Part of the reason why is because their manager has become more and more unhinged as the weeks go on.
Yeah.
You guys see PSG's manager standing in the...
Yeah.
Basically Luis Enrique, PSG's manager.
He wants a new perspective,
He
bro.
goes, you see rugby coaches do this.
Yeah.
So he goes and he stands in the stands with a headpiece on and a microphone over his face talking about how he wants to get a new perspective for the game. So clearly things are going on in his mind that only he can understand. And so because of that, I'm going to go with PSG because
Listen,
I don't really know what's going on, but I can't bet against someone like that.
But is he wrong?
No.
Where do scouts usually sit? Scouts sit further up.
Right,
it's
yeah.
a more
Absolutely.
clear bird's eye view of the pitch. You can understand the spacing and depth perception a little bit better.
Yep.
Luis Enrique clearly knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
Won their first ever UCL, treble last season. Yeah, I mean, Marseille, as you mentioned, they have a really good team. We're about to get into their transfer window. But I think PSG right now, it's too much, especially early in the season. Later, we'll see the second leg.
We talked a little bit about how PSG looks really good, but Marseille could throw us a surprise because they have strengthened themselves a lot this transfer window. They brought back some old players like Aubameyang who did well at the club, brought him back for some experience. They brought in tons of players from Serie A. Pavard is coming in, sits in the back. How do you guys feel about what they've been able to do? The star name, of course, is the boy from Brooklyn, Tim Weah. How do you guys think their transfer season might affect such a big match like this? Because, of course, all eyes are going to be on them.
Was the fact that you're incorporating all these new pieces.
Yep.
But those pieces overall are really good.
Yes.
And I think they probably have the second most talented squad in France when you consider the players they had previously and the additions with the likes of Tim Weah, Pavard, etc. So I think the long term for this season, all these additions are going to be a great piece for them and is going to get them maybe a second place finish. But I think for the sake of this game and some of the shakiness I saw in the back against Real Madrid, specifically playing the ball out the back, I think that's where it could hurt them in Le Classique. So
Those players that you brought up with Weah and Aubameyang as well are players that also have experience in Ligue 1.
Yep.
And so that's something that should be very encouraging for them. And honestly, yeah.
For me, I think one of the X factors that a lot of people probably aren't talking about with the signings like Weah is Igor Paxiao from PSV. Scored over 15 goals last season, had a couple assists too, and kind of lit up a lot of the international competitions. And I think that's one of the signings that's going to be a huge X factor for them this season, and even possibly in this matchup.
Speaking of X factors, the U.S. men's national team is looking for that X factor.
Sheesh.
Now we have 2 big players in Ligue 1 now, Balogun, Tim Weah. Of course, there's going to be some competition up top. They play in different positions, but we know that Pochettino is looking to change the lineup because things have not really worked in the ways that they should have leading into this World Cup. The debate for us as an American show is Tim Weah, Balogun. Who's going to be the biggest star in Ligue 1? Who's going to carry that American flag highest in the French league? And at the end of the season, who's going to be that star man to lead the U.S. in the World Cup?
I'm going to go with Tim Weah for this one. I think they could start and play together, but if I have to pick one, I'm going with Tim Weah. I think just because he offers a bit more on the pitch. When I think about Balogun as a 9, you're looking simply at goals. And if those goals aren't flowing and the confidence isn't there, are you going to be that key piece to the national team? Tim Weah just spent a couple seasons playing right wing back. Now he's playing as like a left winger / left attacking mid. He can provide, obviously, the offense going forward, beating his man, assists, goals, but also defense and just like solidity in the squad. So he can also have a great game without the stats showing up. So I think because of that overall and his versatility, I'm going with Tim Weah.
Balogun's part of the 3rd place Monaco squad, and even on the international level this past break, he was able to score against Japan.
Yep.
Only his 2nd start with Poch. He's been away, a bit with some shoulder injuries last year, but if you look at the game with Korea, he had the most touches inside the box from a substitute since like 2010. As you're saying,
Great movement too.
exactly, which is what we're looking for. And Monaco definitely have a squad this year, so I wouldn't be surprised if Folarin does what he needs to do.
For sure.
I think bouncing off of that, it's going to be Balogun for me as well. I think at the end of the day, Tim Weah knows that his spot is pretty much secured on the national team, whereas Balogun is competing with a lot of forwards who are like doing their thing around the world, including Josh Sargent, who has gotten to start ahead of him a couple times on recent breaks. So if anything, this is his season. He's been doing well. Like, he had 7 goals last year without getting that many starts in the league. So like, he knows he can bag goals. It's just like whether or not he can prove it this season. I think he will.
Speaking of ballers with something to prove, Ousmane Dembele put together what is potentially a Ballon d'Or season last year. He spent a long time at Barcelona and wasn't able to always be as healthy as he wanted to, but last year he went back home, went to Paris, and put together a season that will be remembered forever in France. The question is, will he be given that Ballon d'Or? He already posted something on his Instagram, a photo of him back at Stade Rennais when he was younger. People are saying that that was the day he got the call from the Ballon d'Or people saying that, yeah, the Ballon d'Or is yours. What do you guys think? Do you guys think he deserves it? Do you think anyone can maybe sneak in there and put together a little late grab for the trophy? Does anyone have a better season from last year that deserves it over him? What do you guys think?
Okay. 2 questions for you. Who else got PSG's first Champions League in the modern era? Okay.
Yep.
51 goal contributions. Who else got that last year? So if you want to bring in
We're the only one.
There was a couple.
51 though.
I think there was,
Probably just Rafinha.
I think there was a couple.
Maybe Mbappe.
Maybe Rafinha and Gyökeres, but Gyökeres is...
And so to highlight, the conversation becomes Dembouz or Rafinha.
Yeah.
Which one won the Champions League?
And a treble in general. Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, let's do it.
Yeah. I think it's Dembele for sure. Especially the way they're factoring in team trophies, it has to be Dembele. It has to be. Similar to a Luka Modric in 2018. It has to be Dembele.
Yeah, and I agree. And to cap that off, and to go off what you were saying about Luis Enrique kind of going off the deep end, he had a quote this past week where he said, if Dembele's name was Leo Messi or Cristiano Ronaldo, there'd be no argument. If he doesn't win the Ballon d'Or, it's because the people who voted don't have the competence to vote for the Ballon d'Or because his stats and everything he's won are very strong.
Well, speaking of people who don't have the competence, transitioning to our Manchester United segment.
That's a good one. That's a good segue.
That's a good one.
Yeah, that's a great one. Very true. Wow.
So, this is a beIN Sports segment, so we speak about all things African football, but we also have properties to touch, such as the Turkish League, the Portuguese League, and the French League. In this case, a Cameroonian star, someone who was lauded as one of the best goalkeepers in 2 years ago, not too long ago, at Inter Milan, Onana has left Manchester United and joined Trabzonspor in Turkey. A lot of people raised their eyebrow at that move. A lot of people thought, okay, I mean, why that team? Why that club? How will he do there? So in his first game in Turkey, the Cameroonian goalkeeper arrives and faces 30 shots in the first game, saves 8 of them. And listen, there was an expected 2 goals in that game. Guys, what Onana managed to do in that game was incredible. But for someone that left Manchester United and immediately found his level again, which is kind of the narrative that's starting to brew around that club, what do you guys have to say about the performance and what that narrative has carried on for players just all over Europe?
I'll definitely say the performance is good to see.
Yeah.
You know, man of the match, especially on your first match for a club, is always a good confidence boost there. You know, he's able to play his game, which is to help build up from the back, you know, to be able to spray passes and be involved in the build-up play. But no, definitely good for him, good for Cameroon as well, you know, especially with the competition coming up later in a couple months.
Yeah. I think it's just proof of footballers' performances based on confidence and comfortability. So all these guys have left. Rasmus Højlund scored this weekend as well. Anthony with Betis, Garnacho, Chelsea, etc., etc. When you're feeling calm and confident in a location, you're going to do better than elsewhere. So big ups to him. Excited to see him in the Turkish League all this season. And yeah, I think he's going to ball out for them and for Cameroon in December.
As a Cameroonian, I kind of want to ask you guys, how should I feel? Because now I have another star from my country who's gone to Manchester United, Mbuemo. So what does that mean for him and his career?
I'll offer him.
I'll give you a little bit of hope.
Every night before you go to
I got to pray for Mbuemo.
Oh, you got a little shrine in your
Right? Definitely. With his bald head right there. Nah, little bobblehead. You know what I'm saying? But they say it's good luck, right?
It is good
luck. I will say, not every United player the last few years has had poor individual performances. If you look at the likes of, speaking about the Portuguese League, Bruno Fernandes, and what he's done for that team and what he's done for the Portuguese national team. So Mbuemo in his first few games has actually looked pretty bright. Thought he had a pretty good game against Manchester City, and I think he'll be able to greatly contribute to the Cameroon national team. Now, where will they finish in the league? How will they do in the FA Cup? I don't know. But I think from an individual performance standpoint, Mbuemo will be okay. He looked good. He had a great volley that Donnarumma saved. That could have been a goal, so.
What does a good season in the Turkish League for a goalkeeper get you these days in Europe? What's the next place for him to go?
He can make a move to the likes of PSG, who just lost Donnarumma, honestly. So if he gets back to the peak level he was at before Man United, the sky's the limit, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, United definitely were willing to let him step away, but he stepped away from, I guess, a project that still needs his values and his skills.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised if it was a thing that they would try and keep him back, though. But money is there, too.
Of course.
On that note, stay tuned for next week's episode of Five Aside on beIN Sports. We'll see you every week at 5 p.m. on Thursdays.